of the girls. Many people talk about it, and they say there's a lot of pain. People die.
One lady to pray for
But they will
Regina.
still do it anyway. I don't want to die.
Yes. Thank you.
I hope this holiday ends well. I fear for myself. I want to grow up knowing, learn, and be a pilot, so I can fly over grandma's home.
Hello?
Over
We
the
are
vast
praying for
plains
you.
where grandpa's heads rest.
Let's humble ourselves and pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this time.
I wish every girl from my community can live long enough to see their dreams come true.
Lord, now that you're going to heal us.
I just wonder, what will tradition lose if girls are not cut?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, you have no choice. You have to respond. Can you check, please, if everybody is now ready to come in the room, please? If we have colleagues out, let them come into, please. I don't know if Mireille is there. Not yet, because for the sake of time, if she can have the presentation right now, 5, 10, no more than 10 minutes, and then we go into the next session. You're going to take some notes for those who are not yet in, because we will not wait. Yeah, Mireille is there. Mireille and Agnes and the others, what we're proposing is this. We have the presentation for the phase 4, 5, 10 minutes, no more, and we break into the working groups. Yeah, and hopefully we can save time to come to some issues, to some questions, as you didn't get enough to discuss this morning. Is that fine with you? Yes? No, I see you have not the earphones, so Je demandais que nous puissions
I was asking whether we can spend 5 to 10 minutes on the presentation of phase 4. Then we will break into groups. We didn't have time this morning. I hope we will be able to gain time. But as we said this morning, we're going to share what has come out of the group discussions and the plenary workshop so that you can complete your contributions if need be.
Okay, so let's hand the floor to Mireille, the coordinator. Please take note because we won't have time to discuss. So you need to take the notes of what she's presenting if this will help you. And after we're going to confront what came out this morning and what is presented, make sure that we can integrate them. Of course, your point of view will be the more prevalent because this is why we are here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Idrissa. And thank you so much, everyone, for the excellent contribution from all of you. Hey, after lunch, everybody's tired, including myself. I know, right? We're not. So I'm thinking, I was like, how are we going to pull this off? But it's really important, at least for myself, and on behalf of the joint program team, at least to give you a little bit of an overview of how we envision the next phase and how it will look like. And based on some of the ideas, some of your discussions, well, we are almost there. We are almost getting there. Almost getting there. But I'll tell you what we came up with. I'm actually jumping because I'm like, hey, the older generation still got it. Yeah, and the younger generation, okay. But it's all a learning experience. And I think that is the beauty of the world, that we all learn from each other to make this world a better place. And we all learn from each other to really trying together to end FGM. That's what it is about. So I will go quickly to the first slide. Agnes? Actually go to the second slide. So as we briefly, we explained the achievement, last year's achievement, what we've been doing since the inception of this program. We have amazing track record, amazing working at the regional level and also country level. And there were some few changes that also we brought in during the phase 3. It's working directly with some regional networks. And some of those regional networks, the first thing that when I stepped into this role was to select an amazing, a very powerful youth network, Youth Hub Africa, and also the African Youth Commission at the African Union, who are working together with the FGM Academy and also working with human rights defender. So we thought that after having a first phase where it was a trial, a pilot phase, and then you had a second phase where we added more country, and the third phase, so we had 3 over a decade of accelerating. And we all know what happened when a car is accelerating, when we all kind of accelerating at a certain pace. What happened? What do we do? For those who drive fast cars, you have to stop and change your gears, right? Because at some point, you cannot keep on accelerating because what happened? Anything can happen, good or bad, only God knows. So what COVID, the pandemic, the new decade of action narrative, leave no one behind narrative, for us was an opportunity to also reflect and said, okay, I think it's time to shift, because there is no way for us to continue doing business as usual. and expecting the same outcome. So now I'm putting you at a challenge that for those who presented, if you presented an item or a program or an idea that is seen as business as usual, meaning you haven't understood. And those that think that the idea we presented is out of the box, let's build on it. But I'm just putting it out there for you guys not to reflect. What I presented, is it business as usual? And if it's business as usual, and you still want to go for it, then we need a different outcome, because it's impossible of doing business as usual and have a different outcome in time of COVID and this new decade with a lot of uncertainties. And we're all, watching the news that there are new variants and all. So we need to do things a little bit better. So what we want now to do for this next new decade, we have delivered, the program delivered. Country offices are actually delivering some of the services that you guys mentioned, both UNICEF and UNFPA, legal services, sheltered for victims are there, capacity building and education, they're there. That is what UNICEF is branded for, education. So because there is somehow a sustainability into those programs, we want to now to shift and continuing in that accelerating mode, but a little bit more collectively. So what really will make it happen, like with everything that we implemented, with all the new narrative, what will take for us to really achieve to end FGM by 2030? It's for us to deliver the promise, not so. We've made a promise upon implementing this program that we want to end FGM. We've used different mechanisms. We've had put in a lot of research and technical guidances and all. But now, what does it take for us to deliver the promise? So I want you guys to also reflect on that, what it will take to deliver the promise. So that's why, instead of really shifting all the years and all, and Shadia Melton, we call all the debate that we had, we chose to deliver the promise. So by 2030, we all should be standing and saying, yes, I did my part. I added something new into this program and I deliver. X amount, we reached zero in my community somewhere in northern Uganda or northern Ghana. We reached zero in a community, let's say in Mali, so all of that. So I won't dwell much on the next slide, please, on the vision. However, the vision that we came up with, which is kind of known, but will give you guys the liberty also, maybe to provide your input, a world free from FGM, where every woman and girls have a voice, choice, and agency, which is really important by 2030 to really ensure that there are zero FGMs. So the practice of FGM is being banned in a lot of community at the grassroots level, the national level, regional level, and global level. And of course, our goal and how we're going to get there. So what I'm going to ask Agnes to actually skip slide 4 and go to 5, and I will explain 4 with my notes, because if you put this slide, you guys might not understand. So skip this one and then go to the next phase. No, there's one before that. Right after number 4, there's number 5. So you are using the wrong slide. Yes, this one. So number 4, we were looking for a way to challenge the youth, because we want the youth to really drive the agenda. And sometimes youth are known or coming up with big slogan, big high hashtag and all. So what we wanted to come up with was, and please, if you don't like it, you feel free to change it, that our overall approach will be the high fives to deliver the promise. And what are the high fives means to us that we worked on this is the way we're going to operate, the way we want to scale up our program for this, this new phase. The high fives, it's not there, it's not those, it's doing business unusual. And what it means to do business unusual. Did anyone can give me, their definition of doing business unusual? Yes, my sister.
Okay, so mostly in development space, from my understanding, when it's business as usual, it's the same old way we do in projects. So say if we are ending FGM, we've been advocating, we've been doing a lot of campaigns. What other thing can we do different outside the campaign?
Okay, anybody else? So for us, doing business unusual was, and you all actually say that when you were presenting your business as usual, that we want girls to be capacitated. We want funds to do this. We want to be able to have more funds to do X. We want, there's a lot of we want. We want funding for some of the program. And usually the people on the we want side, those are beneficiary, not so. We want shelters. So for us, what it means to do business as usual is to put all the young women, the youth at the driver's seat. You guys will be now driving instead of being on the delivery side. And driving meaning, or when you look at, for over a decade, UNICEF, the joint program, UNFPA, UNICEF, there's a lot of technical guidances. There is a lot of toolkits. Even if you ask you how many toolkits you've read around FGM, gender-based violence, there's a lot of them. But how many of you, instead of being in the beneficiary side, took that one toolkit, decided now to implement, empower others to come and do the same, replicate that in the community. So that's why we're looking to invest. We are looking for a generation of today's generation and tomorrow's leader to really want to become the actor of changes. Those changes will be you yourself and investing on how you really want to promote those actions. So it will take a lot of thought and disruptive leaders to bring a different approach to FGM. So that young girl or that young man could be 15. And that is why I applaud my brother when he was talking about engaging men, because that's what we also need. And you could see the room is also diverse because we want you guys to come up with an unusual approach that will really create that global impact that we want to see, that will trickle down in all the continents, all the way down to the grassroots. At the moment, I worked in Somalia, and anyone here in Somalia will tell you that there's no young women in the parliament. We're still even fighting to raise the numbers at 30%. And the upper house and the lower house, a lot of them are religious leaders heading it. And for them to even, it took, when I was there, we're fighting for the SOB, sexual offense bills, and the FGM bills. My predecessor that was there years ago was still fighting about the same thing. So now we're pushing for more women to be in the parliamentary, more women in the political. So that's how you do business as unusual, that a young woman here said, I want to have a seat in a parliament because my voice, I can try to influence and also really fight for those of legislation. This is really taking it far because as we are asking for 30% of women representatives all throughout the continent. Ok. Ok, je parlais lentement aussi, c'est ça le problème. Mon micro, le micro est là-bas éteint, donc je ne sais pas. Donc, voilà. So, therefore, that's what we mean by business unusual. Some of you here, like I mentioned, might want to run for office, community leaders. How many of you can say that they have, they can walk into the religious and start engaging with them? So this is what we mean by business in I heard. Moi, je ne peux pas couper le son parce que c'est pas moi. Moi, je suis devant. So Agnes, can you send a message to those connected just to turn? Okay, good. And then for us, the high fives, and those will be the high fives that we'll all review together into per phases to see what we are bringing new to the program. And I heard a lot of you talking about a transformation of system and norms. But what we were looking for, we thought maybe will be to bring a more gender transformative and cultural sensitive approaches. It is good to want to change the status quo and all, but for us, we are aiming for more gender transformative approach. And this is something that is new that we all need to learn. And that is, again, going back to, stepping out of the usual things that we're doing. We used to really push for social norms and gender norms, but now we are pushing for gender transformative and cultural sensitive approaches. So just think of that. And one thing that I was looking for someone to mention, but I was quite surprised that it's ensuring that no one is left behind. This new phase, we want to make sure that everybody, even the fathers behind, are included into the conversation. For over centuries, I, as a feminist and activist and gender for everything, women, we fought, those that know that how much we fought to have a seat at the table. So now it's all of us fighting to create a space for people with disability to be at the table. People, the fathers behind marginalized indigenous people to also have a voice. So that's why we're also looking for ideas that are coming from that part of the globe. So at least they feel empowered. They also feel accountable that if FGM is ongoing in their community, it's because they have a part to play and they did not play the part. And then I really like the fact that you also mentioned evidence-based programming. And the evidence programming that we're looking for, it is true that all throughout these phases, we do have data, but we feel like we could do better. What are the type of innovations that you guys, the great minds that you guys have, or ways that we can collect data, transform the existing data into strong human stories that will really serve as a global advocacy. So these are our 5 high fives that we really want to push and see how many ideas and programs will derive from it. So I know some of you raised concern of, the coverage of the joint program. This is a program, it's true, for over a decade, and its per phases we're able to add countries. Presently, we're in 17 countries, 16 are in Africa, the majority in West Africa, and 1 it's in Yemen. Yes, there is room for us to do much better, but there is a set of criteria for us to be able to add countries and which everybody will need to learn. This is the reality, the coverage based on what the Joint Program Population Data Fellow was able to do. That's more than 30 countries on the continent, but globally, I think we're over 60 or maybe close to 90. But for all of these places, in a way, for us to be able to make the impact that we're looking for, we need to rely on the youth. And that's why we're talking about, hopefully, at the end of this gathering, you guys will decide on a youth social global movement. So just to explain what we meant by the social movement, we were not looking at having a global movement that would do campaign and make noise around the globe. That is not that. We're thinking of some structure, but there's a representative of different places of the globe, because you have to look at the context and our theory of change, which I wish Tiano was here, but that visual of the theory of change kind of gives you an idea of where we are targeting. But that movement, or you can call it task force or consortium, will need to be structured based on the skills and the added value, your own added value where. So just picture yourself having this global, we even joke, I think among ourselves, FGM Security Council. So picture yourself and all of you being a UN, the decision makers. So that's what we mean. We mean by having this global movement. And all of you, we have policymakers among yourself. So you have a group of policymakers that will be reviewing if some of the countries, the legislation, and this goes back to how we put the countries in clusters, where there are some countries who haven't banned FGM. Some countries, the legislation is there, like in Somalia, for example, it's there at the House, but they haven't passed the bills. For Puntland, I think they did, but not for the other regions. So we need a group of young women and men that will follow up on that interest report. We're also looking at innovation. There is one bright idea that I really like that my sister from Burkina Faso brought up, and that is also one of our agenda item actions that we really want to push forward. It's cross-border initiative. She brought up the idea of a judiciary cooperation amongst regional bodies. And one of you brought the idea of having an app that would serve as a communication, among countries. But if you think thoroughly about how you can merge the two, having all the regional bodies, having, work on, and please build on that as well, work on legislation for regional bodies and how the information flow to an app system. So at least if, for example, people who are crossing, let's say, Somalia to Kenya, and they're taking, the practice in Kenya, and Kenya, which president was very vocal of banning FGM by 2022, we need that, regional body, judiciary, I forgot how she put it, coopération judiciaire pour toutes les régions. And you add an app that will facilitate, kind of alert, this is what is going on, someone crossed the border. So these are type of the ideas that you guys can create a group, start really dwelling on it. Yes. So I love disruptive things and really think outside the box. So when she mentioned that, and then someone else mentioned, I was like, there's a way we can cross the two. I'm telling you, we are a very good team, but all of us have above 40. But the ideas, when we come together, you think we are 15, and yes, so we're excited. And then, so these are what we're thinking. And then you look at that. So we look at innovation. We're looking at innovation. We're also looking at building more young feminist movements as well. There is a real struggle. The struggle is really having the mouthpiece, the youth with strong opinion, engaging with the government. And we know—
Coordinator, 5 minutes, please.
Yes, I will end in 5 minutes. The feminists are very good on moving and shaking things, shaping things around. So this is also what we're looking for. So just think of the high fives and now the outcome. The end of all the high five in our theory of change. You can just put the visual of the theory of change, please. It's really ending FGM by 2030. And, for the young girls of today, reaching full potential, the bodily autonomy agencies, the next one. So, and this is how we kind of visualize it, So we have the system transformation, and you see the all young faces, and we see the effective, laws and policy, the data evidence, the regional bodies, family and community engagement, movement building, girls and young women agencies. So based on our theory of change, 7 of them, that's how you guys can group yourself into that movement. What do you want to come out of it as something concrete? So by 2030 or maybe by 2025, we start having different conversation. An example is when you have declarations from president of Guinea-Bissau that is keen on ending FGM. So that is the moment, for you to seize how do we build. No, someone said Equatorial Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, Equatorial Guinea. And, and so that you guys can now have that group discuss how do we engage 2022, but someone mentioned Equatorial Guinea. So you engage how we strategically engage as a group, because as a group, you guys are a powerful force. So in short, because I was given 5 minutes, this is our idea. And it's for all 8 years. Yes, we want to add more countries, on the continent and globally, but we also need reasons, to add those countries, because we have partners that will be asking questions. Why do we add République Centrafricaine? I can say, well, there's no countries from Central Africa region, and I'm from Central Africa region. So but that is not enough as an argument. So we need numbers. We need incidence rates. We need programs that are in those countries, because you guys are the ones on the ground. We are HQ, and we are not really on the ground. But what you guys have, you have our country offices to rely on. You have the regional offices as well to rely on. And a lot of your needs, it's being done in the country offices. So if you are not connected with the country offices, find a way to connect with the country offices. So I will leave it out here, here, and then open for questions and how you guys will going to engage. But at least you have an idea of the phase 4. Thank you. Okay. Idrissa has allowed me to take questions, but now I'm afraid.
Okay. Sorry,
Mireille. Yes.
Please, I'm just mindful that our next presenter is in a different time zone. We're 2 hours over past the time that was scheduled. So if we can please keep this
Questions, yes.
until after our next presenter presents, then we can always come back to this just to respect the time.
Sure, no problem. We'll do that. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Melton, it's up to you now. Our turn is over. So for Aniso, Rashid, and myself, and the others, we thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, asked me what I want to do, and I said, sing. But the problem is I have a very bad voice. So, okay, I will not actually talk too much. So now we are moving to the new part after lunch. If I'm not mistaken, we have a presentation, which is a virtual presentation by Natasha Harris-Herb from UNGAI. So will we be able to, connect, Agnes?
Yes, 1 minute. I'm sharing the presentation. Natasha, are you online?
Hi there. Hi, everyone.
Hello, Natasha.
Hi.
Thank you so much. If you have questions, and then I can share my screen for the presentation.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, please.
Here. mentioned, my name is Natasha. I'm joining from the unceded and unsurrendered territory called the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nations, also known as Canada. And have the honor of working with a lot of different global youth movements. So for the next around 20 minutes, consortium. So I'm going to ask now we're going to take 3 deep breaths. You just address it and to be present. Are you need to shake things out? Are we feeling good? Shake it up. Let me see. Thing. Great. And if you're online, drop in the comments how you're feeling. So let's start. Let's get into it. Yeah. So, all from different networks and individual activists and advocates who are doing incredible work towards ending FGM in your communities, in your regions, and globally. And our past, this colleague said, to be so from you. Any examples of, and I know that them and to be stronger, to be connect online.
We are not hearing any audio. invite them.
How can I help your network? Okay, so now we're going to explore key elements, right? So as a collective, we don't decision-making table and is in all the important global working.
S'il vous plaît, parlez un peu moins vite. Ils n'entendent pas bien, en fait, les interprètes.
Natasha, can you speak a bit more slowly so the interpreters can catch you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, sure.
Okay. Transparency, collaboration, and solidarity. So, and we'll make sure that Ida shares the slides so you all have access to the resources. Accessible to all. So define what that understanding of that. So the next one is membership. And this is really important, right? When we're thinking about membership in your what are they doing? beginning of your process. Right? Send an email saying why they as a network are doing it. Right? We need to be really right. By a leadership team to move forward. And what would that team look like, right? So that's the question you have to ask. Do you hire you part-time paid, right? To lead the lead coordinator and outreach, comms, social media, who works with a group of networks.
Please mute your mics if you're not speaking. Participants online.
Structure to make decisions. Can I continue, Agnes?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. No one is holding the power, right? That is coming from the bottom up. And that's what makes youth networks. What's the support youth partners, right? Come up with a list of support that you need. Right? Helping you with proposals. Clearly articulate partners to support you. Right?
No, not really. Just thank you for going through the different expectations when creating a global consortium. And I hope that our participants have taken notes, because in the next breakout session, this is exactly what you're going to be discussing and finalizing, determining your leadership, your methods of engagement, to provide this initial overview to help guide you in your breakout session. So when we come back from plenary, we will then form this global youth consortium. So by the time we leave this event, we will have an established body in place. Over to you, Natasha.
Put my contact information here on the screen. So that's my Ungai email. If you ever need resources, support, just reach out. And I also put the email and the Instagram of education, Transform Education, because if you also ever want to collaborate, like how cool would it be to do a partnership with both networks eventually, that's really open as well. So I'm sending you lots of strength, lots of love. I might be talking to you later so we can explore self-care, but until then, take care and good luck with your process. Bye, and thank you.
Bye, Natasha. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now,
Actually, we used our time very comfortably. It's working, right? Yeah. We used our time very comfortably. So Agnes is waving. I don't think that, I mean, she's just waving.
So I have a complimentary 5-minute presentation to this, just to talk about what we're going to be doing in the groups.
Okay, then we will go to the groups, the same groups that we actually went in the morning with the Salima ambassadors and work on the Global Youth Consortium, TOR. And I think we will have like 1 hour, right? Okay, I'm giving the floor to you, Agnes. Please continue.
I just want to thank Natasha again for that quick and effective presentation. Natasha is from UNGAI, the UN Girls Education Initiative, and they've been exploring different ways of working with the FGM joint program because, as you know, FGM influences girls' education. Sometimes once they go through the practice, they get married, and that's the end of their education. So there's definitely a space for partnership there. So I just want to quickly talk about what's expected of us, of you, in the breakout rooms. So you will be developing the terms of reference of this Global Youth Consortium that you're forming. And TORs are the guiding documents for anything really, for a network, a job. It specifies what is expected of that organization, of that role, of that body. And ideally, it should be very simple and clear. It's not, we don't expect you to develop a very technical document. You're not experts in TOR development. We just want you to develop a guidance document for this consortium as young people that will structure your activities going forward. So there are 7 areas that you can consider. You don't have to, you probably won't have time to discuss all of them. So maybe what we should do to save time is split it up, and I'll allow the facilitators and the Salima ambassadors to suggest how we're going to do that. So every group doesn't have to cover every theme. So maybe the English group can take a couple of themes, the French group can take a couple of things, and the Arabic group can take a couple of things, and then we come back and put it all together instead of each group going through all 7. But just quickly, so please discuss, and come up, what is the purpose of this group? Natasha has given a very detailed guidance of how long it should be in the TOR. What's the group purpose, and what are your objectives? What are you aiming to achieve, right? And there's some examples given. And then you have space, to type in your answers under this subtopic. And then also, what are your guiding principles? What do you want to be led by? And there are some examples like transparency, collaboration, self-care, etc., etc. How will members be held accountable that they're actually doing what they signed up for? Is this a feminist movement? And then you have space to put in your answers. You have to determine what the membership of this consortium will look like. Will it be only, for example, youth networks and organizations that can be members, or will individuals be able to join and be members as well? Will you only work on FGM, or will you work on other harmful practices as well? How do you become a member? Can someone just volunteer and register to be a member, or will there be a screening process? Will there be a vetting process? Will there be a nomination process? How are you going to select your members? Are you going to create a form? And once you're a member, what is expected of you as a member of this youth consortium? Are you going to be expected to hold quarterly meetings or monthly meetings, or will you be representing, the global youth? Will you be bringing the theme of FGM to international meetings, for example, like CSW, which is held in New York every March, I think? Regional meetings, there are conferences. There's the African Girls Summit happening in, I think, next week in Niger. like such conferences and events happening, how will your consortium raise the issue of FGM in these global gatherings where decisions are being made and stakeholders are gathering? How will you select who will be participating in these forums? Will you be launching campaigns? Will you be engaging in research? So you really have to define your membership and then define what that membership is going to do. How are you going to select your leaders? So ideally, by the time you leave, please mute your mics. Unfortunately, I can't host. So calling on the host to please mute the mics, everyone. Thank you. So you need to decide also, I know we don't have much time, but how do you want your leadership to look like? Do you want to actually get funding to pay people to lead the consortium full time, or do you want it to be volunteer where it's the members themselves are leading the consortium and volunteering their time? Will you have an advisory group? Will you have, you know, a board members? What will be the role, for example, of organizations like UNFPA and UNICEF that support, you know, elimination of FGM programs? Will you have one organization or one member who will be the chair? And what will be their role? So since this is a youth structure, do you want your leadership to be horizontal, or do you want it to be, you know, vertical, where there is hierarchy, there is a president and a vice president, and or do you want that horizontal structure? So how will it be governed? How will decisions be made? Will it be a voting like democracy, or, you know, majority takes it all, or you need to decide how you're going to be making decisions?
Agnes, I think it's time to groups to go. Because, you know,
I'm almost at the end.
Yeah.
Almost at the end. I just want them to understand what they're going to do. And then what is your stance on funding? Will you be fundraising? And if so, how much, what will be your target, and what will you use those funds for? What will your strategy be? And finally, what support do you need from partners? So partners like UNFPA and UNICEF and UNGAI, and donors and, you know, organizations like Plan International who are working on these issues. So this is the overview of what you're expected to do. I would suggest that we split it up and have the English breakout room take a few of these topics, and the French and the Arabic take a few of these topics. So over to you, Malcolm.
Okay, thank you. Now you are off to go to the groups. But in the meantime, Salima ambassadors, please gather and try to actually sort out which part, we'll do the groups. But during that time, please, all you go to the groups. It's actually 15:59. So you have to be here at 16:59, okay? We're waiting for you here at 16:59. Okay, you can go. Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can we raise up after mincing the chicken wings? How are they?
Hello everyone. I think we should decide before we go to the groups. Which group is doing what? I think we should decide before we go.
The Waru Kuku is breaking you. Can we raise a little? We are going into break-up sessions. We're going into break-up sessions. Can you stretch a little? Get space and stretch. Stretch like you want to pick something from the roof.
I would recommend now, we have 7 points. So the first group, the English speaker countries, can take the purpose and the objectives, can take guiding feminist principles. This is 2, 3. And the third one is membership. How is your membership is going to be? Group 2 is the Arabic speaking countries. They can take leadership and governance structure.
Group 3 is the French-speaking countries. They can take funding and support needed from partners. Thank you.
So this is going to be a breakout session, and we are going to discuss the consortium.
Recording stopped.
And there are a few questions that we need to be discussing. So they are going to I'm proposing we have like a plenary question and answer session if we had to go faster. But if we had tell these guys to just go and discuss, we will not go quickly. Then for you, you will. Okay, we are waiting for the questions, and we are going to just respond direct as Shiba helps us to capture our responses. Don't doze, msichoke. I see guys are tired, the eyes are even disappeared. We are waiting for the screen, okay, consortium. Great. So we are breaking to discuss forming a consortium, a global youth consortium. And they have said you can choose a name. The first area we need is to propose a name for this consortium. We are having a plenary discussion. We are not going in two groups. If you keep joking, I will take you for a road race up to Mbale town. No taxi will come to pick you people. Such that you can shed part of the fat we have eaten this evening. So, are we good to go? Okay. What are you proposing to be the name of the consortium? We need to propose it. Yes, it should be a global name. Should it be a network, a consortium? What are you thinking as young people from Uganda? Yes. So, are we all in agreement that we can call it Global Youth Anti-FGM Network as our proposed name from Uganda? Great. Let's go to the next slide. Yes? No, the time is very short. Yeah, we are not. Yes? Something like Yes, they have said Global Youth Anti-FGM Network. So if you are anti-FGM, you are fighting to end FGM. How? They called it what? It is very different. If you are going to register with the USRB, those are two different entities. What is happening to our presentation? Yes, let's go to the next. The next slide has questions, key elements of the global movement. It is not readable, my sister. You need to squeeze the eyes until they grow bigger. Yes, reflections. Now those were just questions. What will make this consortium successful? What do you want to see in this consortium? So what will make this consortium successful? Let's brainstorm. Teamwork, capture Shiba. What else can make our consortium? Yes. Good networking, partnerships, serious commitment, cooperation, of course, education of members, transparency and accountability, then proper funding. Okay. Thank you. What do you want to see in this consortium? As young people, what do you want to see in the consortium? Yes, they want. What do you want to see? Imagine. No, that one is very far. We are at formation of the consortium. So what do you want to see in the consortium? Yeah? Yes, unity, cooperation. We are repeating, I expect. In the consortium, they are now speaking about the structure. They just want to see the structure. Yes, leadership comprising of who and who. Yes, they want to see the youth in the consortium. I think it should be representative of the globe, inclusiveness. They should also allow in-country consortiums that build into the major consortium. How do you see that? That's also my suggestion, but it's up to you. Young people, what are you saying? You see the problem of eating chapati at 5. People are now thinking of the bed only. How can this consortium help young people? How can it help young people? Yes, the consortium will amplify the voices. It will transform the lives of young people. It should create linkages for young people, opportunities, sharing experiences, but also skills and capacity building. It will also bring new networks and friends. How can it be fully youth-led? Of course, the election should be done by the youth themselves. For us, if you know you are above 30, the scene kicks you out. Because by the time you reach 20, 30, you are no longer a youth. So it needs people between 25. Yes, but so the youth should do the elections themselves, etc. Can we go to the next slide? What is the ultimate purpose of this group? What are the differences? I've given you examples. Apart from connecting young activists, working to end FGM around the world with one another, streamline knowledge and advocacy, funding for young FGM activists to be at every key decision-making tables. What else do you want to see as activists? Why are you forming this consortium? Amplify the voices of young people to be heard. Create spaces for meaningful engagement of the youth. Yes, streamline knowledge and advocacy. Equip young people with specialized skills, isn't it? That can enable you to perform, but also survive in this globe. What else? Okay, we've added some 3 points. Creating linkages at all levels, connections. Yes. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And I know that one is the longest. You have given us the guiding principles. You have spoken about them: transparency, accountability, self-care. What else? Equality, but
are they talking to us?
movement is majorly female, so young people, not majorly men, but young people who are women. I was also thinking of humility, that we are acting local. Yes, humility. You are doing it not for your own self-gratification, but your contribution is done for the ultimate benefit of all women and girls. Yes. Yes. We are moving. I think that slide is over. That said, see ActionAid. You know, ActionAid has set the pace globally. When I was doing my master's, all advocacy tools were from ActionAid, so I was just enjoying having worked in ActionAid before. So It was not difficult to go through that pastors. So can we go to the next slide? Yes. Who can be a member of this consortium? All the youth. Okay, they are saying between 17, okay, 18 to 30. 18 to 30. Okay, let's put it at 13 to 30. 13 to 30. Yes. Can they be individual activists? I believe it should be group for them to easily work together. Yes. Are they only networks who are part of it? And should they be working actively on FGM? Yes, I was recommending that FGM, they should work on FGM, but also SHR and GBV, because all those are predisposing factors that lead to FGM. So how does one become a member? Should it be invite? I believe let people apply. There should be an online portal platform for organized young people's groups to apply. There should be an online form, that is correct. What is expected of members? Should you pay some money? Yes, they should. You know, how will you mobilize for the consortium? You need also to generate small monies as young people. You can use your movement, look for people like ActionAid, Shiba will be there, tell her we have this, go to the city, go to the offices, want to be part of the global movement. And they will do something. Yes. For young people to own up their organization. How about these things you can pay from the Ugandan context? $10, which is 32,000, 35,500. Yeah. Yes, for me, I would think let's say, mobilize groups of young people and individuals who subscribe to that cause. Let it be open. So, apart from members participating in forum meetings, sharing best practices, participating I do believe members should make commitment by contributing some money. So propose the money. 50,000 is who has ever bought the free lift? Actually, for me, I regretted boarding free lift. Somebody offered a lift. We reached Mbale here. She delayed for 2-3 hours. We went via Tororo. I left Kampala at 7 a.m. but reached Kampala at 2 a.m. in the night. From that time, even if someone tells me there is a lift, I will always tell them I'm around. You let me know when you are leaving, such that. That's so dangerous. So even if we allowed, if we left this consortium just hanging, it would be nobody's business. Yes, it checks on the quality of members. Okay. Let's go to the next page. It should be okay. How many young people do you think can be in the consortium? There are many young people. Actually, the demographic dividend says in Uganda, actually, you are 60% of the total population. So 70%, including those who are near 40. So are you thinking of, it won't reach that level. In the advent of technology, people can be online at the same time, many of them. Yes, they should learn to adapt to change. You convince a young Karamojong man if you can marry one wife with 100 cows, and one cow can only buy a smartphone, plus all the airtime for the year. Now the smartphone, by the way, is good, but we need to encourage young people to also take adult learning classes. FAL, functional adult literacy, isn't it? Or else, if you are not educated in this century, the world is leaving you 50 miles away. Okay. So leadership of the consortium. Team of people, forward them. What will this leadership team look like? Yeah. Are there young people here who are interested to be in the formative leadership of the consortium? Okay. Rise up and take your names there, and they will propose you in the platform. Yes. 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 Providing oversight supervision. Yes, capture those things. Where there is no supervision, there is no clarity. What are you saying, young people? I think Chapati is working on us. Yeah, there should be a few part-time paid coordinators, but now the consortium has no money. Who pays the money now? Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Okay. That is okay. So the consortium, we need to define roles of these people. What are the roles of the board? And we are there on the role of the board first. Yes. So Shiba, they are telling you the roles of the board. What are they going to do? Formulation of rules and policies, overseeing implementation of consortium activities, monitoring, planning and budgeting. There are those, they should actually be networking. Yes, coordination, resource mobilization. But now sometimes you have board members who just come for, they want to eat the cow again. They say we want something. Instead of bringing good ideas, they want to see what they can scratch. Then what will the coordinators do? Coordinators should be able to implement the decisions of the board of directors of the consortium, plan and budget, write reports, write concepts, participate in fundraising. Okay. How can we ensure that it is a horizontal and non-hierarchical leadership structure? You know, when they say horizontal, flat, they don't want a consortium where there is a country director, world director. They want a consortium where the ground is leveled. You know, there are organizations like Agritera that only has business advisors. There is nobody who is the head. All of them are at the same level, from Uganda up to the whole world where they work. You can see. Yes, they are like elders in the church. But sometimes elders in the church mess up. When one over-dominates, they punch themselves. They leave the Bible aside. So here, you just do your job, report. Nobody supervises you, but there is where you submit all those reports. It's a Dutch-based organization. It's called Agritera. It is owned by farmers, and they are promoting cooperatives across the world. They offer free trainings. Is there a very good Yes. Do that. Write that one down. And now we request you to, is there another slide? We have discussed all those things. Decisions should be made. Actually, the governance should have a global outlook, but also they were saying that about 60 countries. Do you think a board of 60 people can make decisions? That is extremely terrible. We need a regional-based board, like East Africa, Central Africa, North Africa, Arabia, and we have a board of at least, let's say, 5 to 9 people. because it should be an odd number for elections when they are voting, the ones that are many win. If it is 3 versus 6, it totals to 9. If it is 4 versus 5, it is 9. Decisions should be made through voting. That's the only better way, just. People make proposals and they are voted. If they pass, yes, an office. Yes, there should be a term of office. It should be annual, renewable only once. Okay. Now, by the way, in Uganda, if you look at running credit organizations and cooperatives, government has made a decision that it is 5 years first for real change to happen. Because even where decisions are being taken and it's for the good of the organization, members warm up to vote out the next board before they even implement those decisions. And there is no longer now a clause. It says, as long as you are performing and the members keep repeating voting you in, just continue working. Okay, your suggestion, let's say 3 years, renewable ones. Yes. What are the youth saying? You see, Chapati has worked on them. Can we raise up a little? I curse this Chapati. Leave the stomachs of these people. My sister was very active in the morning, but now she's chewed. Okay, can we raise up and we do a Chapati quickly? You know, Chapati is nice, but it requires more energy. Okay, raise up, raise up, raise up. Raise up. Get some space, don't box your neighbor. Have stamina. You need to be fit. Hold your hands like this. fundraising strategy, that there should be a board in place. Okay, okay. Lalo, hello, okay. The fundraising strategy should only come in when there is a consortium board and a secretariat. And they should also develop not only a fundraising strategy, but a strategic plan of how they can deliver their campaign to end FGM. Okay? Our next question. That is the end. Yes. Yes, they need guiding documents. Told them they will need a capacity building, clearly articulate how you want. Actually, the partners will fund development of policy documents, finance policies, human resource policies, advocacy and campaign strategies, communication, all those ones. All of you just remember Kamzinga and a chapati. You must roll the chapati. Tomorrow morning. Okay? So I think to that level, we are requesting you to typeset for us those things. If we are going to share or they will want us to make a presentation, that will be very good. Escape. Can you escape? They want those ones. Commitments, of course, all those things. She was just making a presentation to give a picture. Yeah, and we've answered all those things. Okay? We are now waiting for the other team to come out of the room. Who has a very good song to give us? No, Kamzinga is so physical, people may get very tired. As we wait for the secretariat to do some typing, we need to be active. DJ, that play some little music to soothe people's hearts. That they want his-led music, I don't know now how that one looks like. For the music. Okay, Pastor, you can intercede. Oh, yes. Come and sing for us. At least for me, I'm a very poor singer. That one I can't manage. You are not allowed. Who told you to take so?
Okay, we raise up. Let's raise up. I will sing Hosanna. I will sing Hosanna. Singing round before the Lord of glory. I will sing Hosanna. Sing Hosanna. Sing Hosanna. Singing round before the Lord of glory. I will sing. Hey, dance Hosanna. Hey, dance Hosanna. Hey, dancing round. Hey, wave Hosanna. Hey, wave Hosanna. Hey, waving round. Hey, clap Hosanna. Oh, clap Hosanna. Oh, clapping round.
Every one of us is going to talk to God because it's very, very, very important for us to give glory back to the Lord. And like Festus said, we all know how we can be able to communicate to God. You can communicate to God through other tongues. You can silently pray to God. All the way that we do understand. And we start now. Father, King of glory, in the